There's a seminary.
Yeah, pressure's on now.
Did you find any pictures, Deanna?
I got too many pictures, Miss Deborah says. I can't get it down. The best I can get it down is about 5 minutes. So I guess I got enough.
That ought to do it. Okay. Let me check with my mother. All right. We are on Proverbs 27 after our lengthy hiatus, a week longer than I had intended it to be. But it is good to be back amongst the living. And in my own time zone. So that's welcome back, and we will jump right in. That's interesting. There we go. From the beginning. All right. So we're going to start off by looking at the first 6 verses, 1 to 6. Praise and rebuke. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Let another praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips. A stone is heavy, and sand is weighty, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. Wrath is cruel, anger is overwhelming, but who is able to stand before jealousy? Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Well meant are the wounds a friend inflicts, but profuse are the kisses of an enemy. So glance through those first 6 verses, and then we'll talk about it.
Stephen, when does Rachel fly out?
Now, she's in the air.
Okay.
see it.
And I'm into this afternoon.
All right. So, what do you see it in those verses that make you wonder? Do not boast about tomorrow. You don't know what today's going to bring. Tomorrow, I get to go to the Super Bowl. So you test positive for COVID today, you know?
What chapter are we on?
27.
I don't understand verse 3 about my Bible says a stone is heavy, sand is weighty, but the resentment caused by a fool is heavier.
Yeah, it is hang on, let me get there in my commentary, so as not to mislead anyone. The weights of stones and sand are not little markers in the ancients used on scales, but a reminder of sweaty work of lifting heavy loads and carrying them on one's back. The fool's provocation is even heavier, harder to bear, more burdensome than sand and rocks put together.
Yeah, I had to look up the definition of provocation to make sure I understood it correctly.
Yeah, I guess that's probably where the hang up is. And what did your definition say?
Action or speech that makes someone annoyed or angry, especially deliberately.
Folks.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I'll give you an example. Something Dieta and I missed this weekend. Because Dieta has COVID now, which apparently you didn't get it from me, did you?
I might have. I started not feeling quite right on Monday and Tuesday.
That's a little
Does that-
quick. And we weren't really
does that
around
mean-
each other though on Sunday.
But I didn't think so. So it means that it would probably been more like Friday or Saturday.
Yeah. Which
Okay.
did it come through Noah though?
See, I think Noah and Scott both tested negative, but I think that they had to have had it. And Jay never tested. So I think it came from our own house, but I'm the only one that tested positive.
Well, I tested negative twice before on that Sunday. I tested negative before I went to church. I tested negative when I got home from church. The next day, the doctor told me, he goes, if you don't test positive, you need to act like you did because you have it. He said, you probably tested too soon.
Yeah, Scott did test twice, and he even went to the doctor, and the doctor said it was allergies. So I think he gave me his allergies.
Yeah, it happens. And that's the toughest part about this strand. It really is like allergies and a cold.
Mhm.
I had the benefit of having a fever and exhaustion with it. So that was a treat. But at any rate, so at the lacrosse tournament, one of our council members, who shall remain nameless, but who might have a little something to do with coaching, but is not the coach for this team. His daughter got decked,
Mhm.
like just laid out. which that typically means a yellow card, that the other girl is sent off to the sidelines, basically put in the penalty box for a couple minutes. That did not happen. They just sort of called a penalty. And well, needless to say, he was pretty irate, to which the opposing coach yelled back at him and then said, basically, why don't we step outside? Although, why don't you come down here? Fool's provocation.
Mhm.
Now, granted, Dennis is a grown-up, so he didn't, whatever, dude. One of your players took out one of my girls and you said, nice hit.
Ooh,
And so, yeah.
and the refs
Okay.
did nothing.
Well, they called a penalty, but they didn't, it should have been a card.
Yeah.
That was the complaint. You can't do that. But this team is pretty aggressive, apparently. And we might get to play them again in Asheville. Which I'll be at that one. What else do you see in these verses? Oh, but back to that, the fool's provocation, why it's so weighty is it would have probably been hard for him not to come down into the stands and meet him on the sidelines.
Mhm.
It's like a fool knows how to push your buttons
Exactly.
to get you
Exactly.
to react like you shouldn't react.
Yes. And and that's what they do. They push buttons and they respond. That's what they do. So what else in those verses? I was a little confused at verse 4. Wrath is cruel, anger is overwhelming, but who is able to stand before jealousy? And the way it was explained really comes from the person. Like, when you are jealous, it is very difficult to control your jealousy. But it's also, if somebody else is jealous, that can be far more dangerous to you, their own jealousy. Because we've all seen, where the damage that can do. A lot of spousal abuse, spousal homicide comes from jealousy.
Mhm.
People undermining other people and, trying to, hurt them politically, financially, ethically, socially, a lot of times comes out of jealousy.
Mhm.
And so that's something that's very interesting. But better is an open rebuke than hidden love. You look confused at that one, Margaret.
I don't get that.
Well, I like that one because an open rebuke is in your face. Like, you can deal with something that's in your face, but hidden love, you don't know that it exists.
Well, Deetta, as a retired school counselor, how often did you have to deal with hidden love, parents that hid the love they had for their kids? That, I don't know if my parents love me, kind of thing. Some families are very open about saying it. Mary Margaret says it all the time. Like, she'll she'll call on the phone from downstairs when we're upstairs, so we're not screaming through the house. And before she hangs up, she says, "Love you." Okay, hopefully nothing's going to happen between now and the time you walk upstairs, but I love you too. But but then in some families, those words are hardly ever spoken.
Mhm.
And it's not that they don't love their kids or their spouse, but it's more hidden. And people think, well, it's just understood, but maybe it's not.
Good.
Anything else?
Oh,
All right, let's move on to the next section, which is verses 7 to 12, family and safety. Oh, by the way, I never opened with prayer. Let's do that now. Gracious God, we thank you for letting us gather today. We ask today that you be with Jack and his family as they mourn the loss of Hazel. We ask that you be with us as we study your word. May it give us strength and hope in Jesus' name. Amen.
man.
I did not know that.
I apologize, Teresa. I realized as soon as I said that you were not on when I announced it to the class.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, it was time. It was
Yeah,
definitely time.
she really, really has had a tough few years.
5.5 is what Jack said.
When did she pass?
Last night.
Last
This
night?
morning, last night. I don't know exactly the time.
Oh. Her body just wore out, or did the
Yeah,
cancer?
I don't think she had been eating much
Uh-huh.
last week or so. All right, verse 7. The sated appetite spurns honey, but to a ravenous appetite, even the bitter is sweet. Like a bird that strays from its nest is one who strays from home. Perfume and incense make the heart glad, but the soul is torn by trouble. Do not forsake your friend or the friend of your parent. Do not go to the house of your kindred in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor who is nearby than kindred who are far away. Be wise, my child, and make my heart glad, so that I may answer whoever reproaches me. The clever see danger and hide, but the simple go on and suffer for it. Read through those and we will discuss them. All right. So how about those?
Number 10 is interesting.
How so?
got to answer this. This is from,
Okay. Well, I tell you what, while she talks to the people at my father's nursing home, let's anybody else have one? Well, I don't want to answer her question and not.
Number 9, the second part. The footnotes in my Bible say, I guess it's another way of saying the sweetness of a friend is better than one's own counsel. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hebrew makes more sense apparently. I don't know. I honestly don't know why they translated it the way they did. So basically, listen to a friend instead of figuring it out yourself. What else? No. Okay. Mom's back. So everything okay?
yeah, we had filed for insurance from long-term care insurance, and Thrivent kept telling me that they had faxed the information twice and had not heard anything back from Abbotswood. So I gave Abbotswood the contact information, and they finally got the paperwork. So now it's got to be filled out so that I can be reimbursed for your daddy's.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Oh.
That would be good.
Yes.
So, all right. So you said verse 10, do not forsake your friend or your friend of your parent. Do not go to the house of your kindred on the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor who is nearby than kindred who are far away. Basically, take care of your friends. Be good to your friends. Because if you got friends who are your next door neighbor is more able to take care of you than your family who's in another town. You know, I mean, if trouble hits, I mean, you know, if you need somebody to take care of your dog, it's better to ask your next door neighbor than, you know, your family member that lives away, kind of thing.
You're not coming to take care of my kittens?
Oh, no. You just fill up the bowl and leave. That's the way cats work. They'll take care of each other based on the videos you've shown. Especially after one of them gets out of the cone of shame.
Out.
Oh, he's out? He's done?
Mm-hmm.
Fun times. So, so what else? Anything in those? Let's move on to the next part then. Verses 13 to 16, bad neighbors and quarrelsome wives. Take the garment of one who has given surety for a stranger, seize the pledge given as surety for foreigners. Whoever blesses a neighbor with a loud voice rising early in the morning will be counted as cursing. A continual dripping on a rainy day and a contentious wife are alike. To restrain her is to restrain the wind or to grasp oil in the right hand. Okay, read through those 4 verses and then we'll talk about them. All right. So what's up with those?
I think 13 and 15 have been repeated or been repeated. Seems like I remember something about both of those earlier in Proverbs.
13, yeah, it talks about don't take surety, like don't co-sign on loans or whatever.
Right.
This one gives advice about what to do.
Okay.
Basically, go ahead and take their coat because you ain't gonna see any payment.
Gotcha.
You know, if they put up their house as collateral, you go ahead and take that house and you can give it back at the end. And then 15, yeah, it's not big on contentious wives. And apparently you can't shut her up. You might as well try to catch the wind or hold oil in your right hand.
Well, I was looking at the comment on my Bible about 15 and 16, and it says, choose wisely. You can't reshape your spouse after marriage.
There we go.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, that's really only written in terms of contentious wives. Because let's be honest, who's much more likely to marry somebody and try to reshape them? Not the husband. But yes, that's exactly right.
In 14, are you just supposed to respect people's like quiet time, or like what's this loud greeting part?
Well, yeah, that one kind of confused me too. Basically, it was if you're blessing your neighbor at sort of an inappropriate time, it comes across as fake. You know, it's sort of like you're overdoing it.
Rooms tend to be loud all the time, so just
yeah. But you know, if you're like waking up in the morning and walking outside and going, I have a great neighbor, nobody's gonna believe you because it's gonna sound like sarcasm, I guess.
Or if you wake your neighbor up with, oh, you're a great neighbor.
That probably wouldn't. I don't think I would take that as a compliment. All right. Next section, please. We'll move on to verses 17 to 22. Iron to iron, face to face. Iron sharpens iron, and one person sharpens the wits of another. Anyone who tends a fig tree will eat its fruit, and anyone who takes care of a master will be honored. Just as water reflects the face, so one human heart reflects another. Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, and human eyes are never satisfied. The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and the person is tested by being praised. Crush a fool in a mortar with a pestle, along with crushed grain, but the folly will not be driven out. Okay, read through those. And then we will talk about them. All right, we ready?
Mhm.
So what jumps out at you there?
I like number 19. Says as water or maybe a mirror reflects a face, so a man's heart reflects the man. So you see your reflection in water or a mirror, but what's in your heart is what you are.
Now, interestingly enough, the NRSV and the NIV have slightly different. I mean, it's a lot of times, you know, we've talked about different translations in this. And usually we'll go to one, it'll make it clearer. This one, however, the NIV and the NRSV have two different translations, and they actually have two different meanings. What Hugh just read talks about how a person's heart reflects the person. Isn't that what it says, Hugh?
Mhm.
Whereas the NRSV says, so the human heart reflects another. So basically, my heart reflects you. Like iron sharpens iron in our, and sort of our hearts reflect one another kind of thing. And so it has to do really with reflecting that of a friend than reflecting your own self, which fits in more with the theme of this chapter. But what you said makes more sense.
Mhm.
And so it could be either one. It's more likely that it goes along with what the NRSV does just because it fits in with the theme. But like I said, the sense of it all makes more sense with the NIV's version. What else?
I'm not sure about number 20.
The places of the dead are never satisfied. In other words, people are always dying. And the human eyes are never satisfied. That goes back to jealousy again. Always wanting something more, always wanting better, kind of thing. What else?
Says the crucible is for silver. What was a crucible?
It's the thing that you melted silver in,
Oh, okay.
I think, pretty sure.
Or that you crush peels or something in a crucible.
No, that's a mortar and pestle.
Well, means the same thing to me. That's close.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hang on just a second. Let's see what we can do about this.
Now the mortar and pestles in 22.
Yeah. They it does look alike. But yeah, let's see. Let me go back here. Full screen. Share screen. What is a crucible?
Mhm.
Right there. But you see these pictures here, that looks a lot like what Hugh was talking about. And look, so I guess it's kind of, they are interchangeable.
I think it depends on what you're going to do with it. It looks like a crucible. You can heat it up, but a mortar and pestle, maybe you don't heat that up.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so.
Yeah,
I
they
guess what
usually
it's
made
made
out of
of.
marble.
Yeah. It is interesting. A person is tested by being praised. That is an interesting thought, isn't it?
Mhm.
Well, think about if you're praised and you get a big head.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand what it means. It's just I never thought of it that way.
Mhm.
One of the things that was popular recently is the idea of encouraging children in education to have a growth mindset. And that was a big part of the conversation. Don't tell people anymore, good job, or that's nice, or like praise is not where you want to go. You want to observe and notice, like, hey, you spent a lot of time we're working on this, or a lot of these answers are correct, or you just observe because you want the feeling of that doing a good job to come from within, and not like encouraging somebody just to do it to please somebody else. Thought that was pretty interesting.
Hmm.
It is.
It is. Of course, there's a flip side to that. I remember one time I was really upset because all I ever got was check marks. And I didn't know what a check mark was. Nobody ever explained it. And that's all I ever got was check marks. And
So were they tracking things you weren't doing, like according to the?
no. That's what the teacher would put next to right answers. I would get a check.
Well, yeah. So like it's supposed to, you really go in, like you don't say good job anymore. You say what somebody is doing, that is, so there's no mystery. Like there's no just a, like you want
right.
to take all the mystery out of it for people.
Like
Your
what
most-
was good? What was the good
Yeah.
job?
Being
Yeah.
specific, not just general.
Right. Specific
Right.
feedback. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that, if you go on, oh, that's a good job, you create what they call a fixed mindset, or thinking that, okay, well, I'm not talented like that. I can't do that. Like, in other words, the most important thing is to encourage effort. So praise kind of on effort.
That's an interesting thought.
And that sort of says, don't give false praise,
Yeah.
because we've talked so much about everybody gets a reward. And what this seems to say to me, and maybe I'm wrong, is that I'm telling you what good you've done, you specifically, and not just the group, but you specifically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more thought and a lot more practice and a lot more time to give that kind of feedback. I think, it's
Yeah.
easier just to say, good job.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not, I like the way you.
Mhm.
It's more, I noticed that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because then you got to notice a lot.
Yeah.
That
And
is
that's a lot
interesting
more
stuff.
affirming.
Yeah. Well, somebody puts a thought into it. Well, it's just like this. Well, maybe not just like this, but I've learned that when trying to get volunteers for things, it's a lot better if you look at why and you say, instead of, hey, will you do this? More than likely, I mean, if you ask the right people, they'll say yes. But it's a lot more meaningful if you say, I need somebody to do this, and I've noticed that you have the gifts to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that people tend to respond better and work harder then.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else in those?
Let's see, there was one I put a question mark back. Oh, we talked about it.
All right. And then final up. Now, I will say that this particular one is considered a poem. It's all one unit with one meaning. Know well the condition of your flocks and give attention to your herds, for riches do not last forever, and a crown for all, nor a crown for all generations. When the grass is gone and new growth appears, and the herbage of the mountains is gathered, the lambs will provide your clothing, and the goats the price of a field. There will be enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and nourishment for your servant girls. So read that poem, and then we'll talk about it. So what does this poem mean?
Well, I know it's talking about taking care of animals, but I kind of feel like it also means to take care of everything you have and kind of nurture your talents.
It's actually not about animals. The animals is a metaphor.
Yeah.
There is one, there's one verse actually that says the meaning of the whole thing.
Is it just that idea of being ready for the future? Because that first verse, the 23rd, because my commentary was talking about the idea of preparation and thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And then,
Maintaining what you have. Taking care of what you got. Verse 24, riches don't last forever, nor a crown for all generations.
Mhm.
So take care of your animals, because your animals will take care of you. And, because the grass will die, but then new grass will come in.
So it's all about stewardship.
Yeah. Yeah, really is. Caring for what God's given you. Caring for your relationships. Because by and large, this chapter is about relationships, isn't it?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mama, is that cat still behind you?
No,
He jumped down.
yeah, he's now playing chase. He and his brother are playing chase in a tunnel.
Those tunnels, that was the funniest thing I have seen.
My kittens entertain me well.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're not my mother's friend on Facebook, you need to be, because she puts videos of these cats playing. And it's this tunnel. It's this three-way tunnel. And the one got fixed that cone of shame couldn't go in the tunnels. And so was the other one was inside the tunnels. And so he was jumping onto the tunnels. It was hilarious. It was quite entertaining.
Now they can both get in the tunnels and they are chasing it around the house.
So the whole tunnel now moves because they're both.
Yeah, the tunnel moves because they're both very
Do they play with that toy that we sent still?
well. I haven't played with it recently. I wanted to wait till Tux got over his
Yeah.
surgery. Stephen and Stacy gave the kittens a toy that's motorized,
Huh.
and it has something on top that will flip over.
Uh-huh.
And Coco sort of sits back and goes, and Tux will go up, and when it has a quiet moment, he'll attack it. So
You should
I
show them a YouTube video of birds. There are cat videos on YouTube. And
okay,
mine will, as soon as they hear the little sound, they will just sit there and look up at the TV, watching the birds.
oh okay. Well, I've got their cat tree
Ah,
in front of my my sliding glass door, which has 2 bird feeders outside.
Oh, wow.
very
So
good.
they'll watch that, and they'll also watch the squirrels that come on the deck.
Mhm.
So
They are fun.
I would show you one, but right now they're too wild for me to want to pick up. Just a minute. Okay. Tux, come on. No, we're too interested in being wild to be picked up. They're both black. Tux has a little white spot right here, and Coco is black with chocolate undertones.
How old are they?
Let's see, they were both born in February, March, April, May. They're about a little over 3 months old.
Oh, that really fun age.
Yes, yes. If you can survive it. They're both going to the vet today because Tux has a runny eye and Coco has a runny nose and sneezes. So it's going to be
COVID.
today. COVID, yes. That's exactly what we need. You haven't been around them, so I know that they haven't contacted it from you or my grandson Aaron. So
It's going around. That's the rumor.
it really is. I know more people that have had this COVID than I did the other COVID, other than your whole family when they had the first COVID.
And of course, the difference is this one is not nearly as, and I think a lot more people have it than have it,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think so too.
because
Because I
it,
think a lot
it
of
is
them
a
think
lot like
they're
allergies.
allergies.
So, like I said, it I mean, it wasn't fun, but it wasn't anything like last time.
Well, that's good. Have you gotten your energy pretty well back?
We'll see when I go to the gym today. But I haven't been to the gym in 2 weeks because I was in Colorado the week before. So I might not be able to walk tomorrow.
Thinking about it. They're doing it.
All
Well,
right, folks. Y'all have an excellent week. I'm sure I will see many of you in between time. You'll get an email as soon as we know something about the arrangements. You'll probably get an email before that as well, but
Miss Margaret, is it my group's turn? Do you know?
It's Karen's,
Okay.
group number 1.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
all right. Well, y'all take care.
this
Thank
is
you.
I have a meeting tonight. so
How
I won't
cute.
make traffic there.
All
right. White spot. Show your white
I
spot.
see it. Cute.
Y'all later.
Have fun.
Bye, Hugh.
She pretty.